Good morning to everyone. Thank you all for being here with us for this exciting announcement on this beautiful day. We have, as you'll see behind me, our public safety leaders here and our county executive. So without further ado, let's introduce County Executive Calvin Ball.
Thank you so much, Sherry. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here today. Every day, we make it a priority to ensure that every Howard County resident and visitor not only remains safe, but feels safe. Last week, we took a giant leap to further reach this goal. 8 individuals who were indicted by a grand jury earlier this month are now in custody for gang-related activity. This criminal network, known as the 59 Hoover Gang, was believed to be involved in multiple violent crimes and other offenses here in Howard County going back as far as 2011. We're incredibly grateful to our police department, state's attorney's office, and sheriff's office who have worked collaboratively from investigation to indictment to apprehension to remove these violent criminals from our streets. Today I'm joined by Police Chief Gregory Durr, State's Attorney Rich Gibson, and Sheriff Marcus Harris, who will detail what transpired to get us to this day. These individuals, these indicted individuals, put our residents, our neighbors, our friends, and our families in danger, and that's unacceptable. By collaborating on this investigation, our law enforcement agencies prevented potential future tragedies and closed cases going back years. When we were first made aware of this gang, we knew that we had to act to address these crimes. We are now one step closer to holding these suspects accountable for providing some closure on crimes that have disturbed our community going back a decade. In Howard County, we remain focused on fostering a safe and engaged community together. And I want to personally thank our police officers, sheriffs, and state's attorney partners who have once again demonstrated diligence, professionalism, and made our community proud by delivering a significant blow to violent crime here in Howard County. They have fully used the resources and support for crime prevention that we have given them to make a difference for the better. Because of the thorough and cooperative work of our team over the last several months, our residents will be safer. I now have the honor of turning it over to Howard County State's Attorney, Rich Gibson.
Thank you, County Executive Ball. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rich Gibson, State's Attorney for Howard County. Today we're here to discuss the indictment of 8 members of the 59 Hoover criminal gang, which had pivotal roles in operating a local set here in Howard County. All of those individuals have now been arrested. The Hoover criminal gang has had a presence in Howard County that actually dates back to 2005. Law enforcement entities encountered the organization and its members in concrete form in 2011. And while they had information about them in the past, they did not perceive the full depth and breadth of the criminal organization. In 2020, the Howard County Police Department approached our office with a desire to start the Violent Crime Reduction Initiative. We immediately agreed and assigned 4 prosecutors and myself to oversee and coordinate an effort working with local law enforcement and other law enforcement partners to address violent crime in the county. It was during this process that we fully visualized the organization, which in turn led to the prosecution we are discussing today. A little bit about the gang's history. The Hoover Criminal Gang is a national criminal organization that began in Los Angeles, California, originally affiliated with Hoover Street. The color they typically use to signify membership is orange, and they often wear Houston Astros gear because of the H, which for them represents Hoovers, and the 5-pointed star, which is also associated with their group. Our local set was the 59 HCG, or 59 Hoover Criminal Gang. The number symbolizes the set or group, different number, different set, all under the larger Hoover Criminal Gang national banner. It is important to note that all individuals charged in this case or mentioned in the indictment are presumed innocent until proven guilty. There will be a day when the allegations raised against them in the indictment are brought forth in court, and the determination of their guilt or innocence will be made clear at that time. The specific crimes alleged in the indictment span 2 years from 2020 forward, although as mentioned previously, their presence was noted decades earlier. We have evidence that what the evidence will show is that the members of the gang either committed, attempted to commit, conspired to commit, solicited others to commit the crimes of murder, attempted murder, robbery, assault, various weapons offenses, and felony drug distribution. This prosecution would not be possible without the help of many other entities and organizations. And I want to extend and express deep gratitude to the Howard County Police Department, including former Chief Lisa Myers, as well as the current Chief Greg Durr, the Howard County Sheriff's Office led by Sheriff Marcus Harris, Howard County Executive Dr. Calvin Ball, the Baltimore City State's Attorney's Office, the Baltimore City Police Department, the Baltimore County State's Attorney's Office, the Baltimore County Police Department, the Capital Area Regional Fugitive Task Force, Maryland State Police, the U.S. Attorney's Office, the U.S. Marshals, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, and the Federal Bureau of Investigations, all of whom played a role in helping make this case possible. If there are any questions, I will endeavor to answer them after the remaining presenters have spoken. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Chief Gregory Durr from the Howard County Police Department. As early as 2011, Howard County Police recognized that gangs, including the 59 Hoovers, were developing a presence in Howard County. In late 2020, our investigators determined that many, if not most, of the serious crimes in Howard County could be linked to a small number of people. Investigations of guns, drugs, and violence kept leading to the same suspects. Detectives realized many of these offenders were linked to one another and repeatedly committing crimes in our communities. So the police department launched a covert operation called the Violent Crimes Reduction Initiative. This strategy brought together detectives from different parts of the agency: violent crime, robbery, property crimes, gun investigations, drug investigations, and our repeat offender unit. We reached out to State's Attorney Rich Gibson about collaborating on these efforts, and he was 100% on board. In partnership with the State's Attorney's Office, this initiative focused specifically on criminal networks and street gangs that continue to disrupt our peaceful community. In many cases, these individual criminal actions escalated to the most violent crimes, like shootings and a homicide. After many months working step by step with prosecutors, we built cases that led to these indictments. We expect that taking these violent offenders off our streets will have a real impact in our communities. At the conclusion of the initiative, we knew there was more work to do. We created permanent crime reduction teams to continue the great work that was started by the original team. We are now offering rewards for information about guns, gangs, and other violence in Howard County at our tip line 410-313-STOP or HCPD crime tips at howardcountymd.gov. We couldn't have achieved this success without support and grant funding from the Maryland Criminal Intelligence Network, which helped us obtain equipment, technology, and overtime costs. Our partnership in this effort with the State's Attorney's Office and support from County Executive Ball will enable to continue to address issues of violent crime in our community. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sheriff Harris from the Howard County Sheriff's Office. I want to thank the county executive for allowing us to speak today at this press conference. I simply would like to thank the state's attorney, our police department, Howard County Police Department, for the great job they did in this case. I'd really like to thank my guys at the Sheriff's Office for the great job that they've done in this case. And I would also like to thank the U.S. Marshals Capital Regional Task Force for what they've done in this case. We often talk about our partnership here in Howard County, myself, the state's attorney, and the police chief, and this is just another example of how we get the job done. Thank you.
We're going to open up now for a few questions. If you need correct spellings of names, they are in the media advisory that went out to the media, and we can also provide you additional information if needed. We're going to open it up to questions, and we'll do our best to identify the right person to answer the right questions. So, does anyone want to start? Yes.
Can you tell us something about the scope of this? With these arrests, did you get ounces of drugs, pounds of drugs, bales, guns? Give us a little scope of what you recovered from these guys.
So the question is about the scope of what was recovered in the course of this operation, including drugs and guns and other illegal evidence of other illegal activity. So.
Thank you. So, to be clear, it's an ongoing investigation, and as such, we are still in the process of investigating these organizations and criminal activity in Howard County. In terms of the actual indictment, there were numerous guns recovered. There was attempted sale of assault weapons, assault rifles. There was a lot of drugs, in particular, I believe, marijuana and cocaine that was captured within these indictments.
I mean, did you get an 8 ball? Did you guys get kilos? I mean, I'm trying to get an understanding of, let people understand how big was moving through here.
It was significant. And I'll say it that way. It was significant. It was not an 8 ball. It was much more than that. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
What you have this right here, 8 of them. Do you think there's more out there? You're asking for rewards and different things. Do you think there's more out there that you're aware of and hoping to find soon?
So there are other individuals that are associated with the organization. This group of individuals that we've indicted represents the core members, the leadership of the organization, the people that are integral members and pivotal members of the 59 Hoover set in Howard County. So we feel that we've dealt an important and impactful blow to the organization. That, to be clear, there are other members that have not been arrested, and every one of them, as well as anyone who's mentioned in the indictments, is presumed innocent until proven guilty in court.
You said that there's other states. I mean, are there other places like Maryland, Virginia? The Hoover gang is around here. Is there other? What's the closest network?
They're a national organization. During the course of this investigation, we are aware of connections that span as far as from here to California, where the gang began. Direct correlation between here and California.
But close by. I mean,
It's national. They're everywhere.
I wanted to ask.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to count that as one question. There are a lot of questions. Every person who lives in Howard County that I see on a daily basis is concerned about the spike in historically what have seemed like atypical crimes here, especially murders.
Mm-hmm.
How many violent crimes, including murders, have you been able to allegedly connect these 8 people to? How many cases have you closed as a result of arresting these 8?
So in relation to this case, we have a murder, we have a shooting, we have a first-degree assault of another individual, we have robberies that have occurred in reference to this, plural, and then we have drug crimes. That kind of captures the case. Again, Howard County remains a relatively safe space. I think one thing that's interesting in terms of if you're analyzing gangs, most gangs occupy a smaller space. So for instance, I was in Baltimore City for 12 years, and I prosecuted the Black Gorilla family gang case there. One of the prosecutors with that case. They typically will occupy an area of a space, Greenmount Avenue in that instance. Here, because there isn't competing resources, because we're a relatively safe space, the gang was able to occupy a larger space. This group's goal was to control Columbia, the second largest city in the state of Maryland. And so you have to, because we're a safer space, the natural competition for gangs are police and other gangs. There weren't other gangs in the area to kind of limit that rate of growth. And so they were trying to occupy the entire city of Columbia. In terms of occupy, I mean control.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Gibson,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
wanted to ask, you mentioned a lot of regional law enforcement agencies that were involved in this. Did any of these men live in Columbia, in Howard County?
Yes.
Why did they pick Howard County to carry out these alleged offenses?
So it's hard to get into the mind of an individual to say why they chose to live here. They probably came here for the same reason everyone else comes here. These individuals, many of them did live in Howard County, and they're from this area. They settled here. And again, without natural competition, because we're a relatively safe space, It provided a space for them to work and operate. I want to also be clear, however, that our community, Howard County itself, is a community that abides by the law and has it is antagonistic to this kind of behavior. And so we, the leadership, as well as the community, will work tirelessly to root out any gangs or any criminal activity that's going on here. It simply is we're not going to tolerate this kind of behavior in this community, in this space.
For those who did live here, did any of them grow up here? Or were they, I hate to use the word radicalized, but, learned about 59 Hoover somewhere else and then
So again, the very first initial contact that we're aware of with anyone related to this set occurred in 2005. It was like a short contact. The first concrete contact happened in 2011 when we searched the cell and recovered gang paraphernalia, gang material in that cell. And then we had subsequent contacts thereafter. So they've been here for a very long time. They're not new to this space.
You mentioned that these ties go back to California, to the West Coast. Is this part of a larger possible RICO case, or is this sort of just an isolated, you're taking a look at these 8 people, the crimes that they committed here, then there's no ties back to orders being given from another larger scope of the gang? Is this just this chapter?
So this investigation and these indictments encapsulate the entities that operated here in Howard County. That is not to say that federal authorities aren't pursuing other cases related to this organization and other organizations within the Hoover criminal gang network.
I have
Yes,
a
ma'am.
question. You mentioned Columbia, so I'm wondering if there's specific neighborhoods, areas, parks, or something that they operated within. There's on the second placard over here, it says 4 members conspired to assault a rival gang member. Do you mean I know you said there's no other gangs operating here, but do you mean a member of the same gang that was a rival, or do you mean there was another a rival gang?
So the term gang is used in that context loosely. There are neighborhood crews, kids that grew up in an area that associate with each other and engage in criminal activity. The operative goal of the 59 Hoover set, Hoover criminal gang, was to control the area. Part of that control says, if you're going to sell drugs here in this space, you're either going to do so with our permission, you're going to pay a tax, or we're going to deal with you with violence. And so that's what you're seeing in that space. The boards are to show people and illustrate to the community what to look for. So again, as I mentioned in my remarks, the color orange is associated with the Hoover criminal gang. You'll see an orange bandana on a pole. Somebody might, if you're not aware, you might walk past that orange bandana and not be mindful of what it actually signifies. If someone in the community sees something like that, we would encourage them to contact the police and let us know so that if we're not aware of it, we can include that in our investigation.
So I just wanted to be clear. So it's not, you're saying the 59 Hoover is an organized, it's a local offset of a national organized thing, but you're saying the rival gang may have been like loosely organized, like
Yes.
some dudes coming in with his buddies to sell.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Somebody wants to sell drugs in this location. They haven't asked for permission. They haven't paid the tax. And now there is a consequence that's met out via violence in our community.
Thank you.
Mr. Gibson, following up on Kate's earlier question about members of the Howard County community concerned about the rise in gun violence, in homicides also, these gentlemen were not in custody until this month, is my understanding. There were at least 2 homicides in January and February here in Howard County. Is there any belief that they have connection to those cases?
No. I don't want people to think that this is the sole source of criminal activity in the county. We're a county of 300,000 plus individuals, and some individuals in that space are going to commit crimes on their own. This is about organized crime, which is a more sinister problem, right? Which we're attempting to root out with this indictment in these cases. You're welcome. Yes, please.
Okay, we're going to wrap it up. If you guys have any additional questions, you can send them to me or to the PIO staff in the County Executive's office or the State's Attorney's office. There will be a follow-up news release to the press conference that will be posted online and on social media. Be safe.